Welcome back to Cherish, Live, and Dream. We are back. We have a very exciting interview for you guys today. I am your host, Yaya.
And I'm your host, Jay.
And we are your hope dealers. So let's get into it. We have the fabulous, the amazing, just everything rapper King Shilec. He has granted us an exclusive interview about his journey. It is an amazing journey. So without further ado, because y'all know I can talk, we're going to get into it. So welcome, King Shilec, the GOAT. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's an honor. Like I was saying, it's an honor. I'm grateful and I'm thankful to be on here today. I'm doing fine, doing good.
That is great. So listen, let's get into these questions because we have a lot to get through today. Right. Okay, so listen, you were accused of a crime you did not commit.
Correct.
Right? And so as a result, what were those charges and the believed connection you had in the crime that led to your arrest? And let's share with the audience what that actual crime was.
I was charged with first-degree murder. I was charged with attempted murder. I was charged with, it was a total of 6 felonies. I'm trying to think. I want to say after breaking and entering, 2 accounts of attempted murder, and then but a total of 6 felonies I was charged with, and in belief of what they believed my role was, they felt like that person that did it, and it was a total of 6 felonies.
Wow. So what actually led to the arrest?
Before all of this it took place, I had prior charges and different things, and I have a face full of tattoos, and so much of the stereotype and pretty much of what, how can I say, the African American with tattoos on his face go through now, at the age that I was then, just so much of believing that, he looked like he did it or he has a past, so he did it. If his name is just thrown into the air in any type of way, he did it.
Wow. So you were arrested. Yeah. You spent time, I guess, before your case was actually tried.
Right.
Which is, when you and I spoke offline, was crazy.
Right. And I'm sorry.
Yeah. So please share with us how long you actually served before your case actually went to trial.
I did 8.5 years. And, we'll get it. I don't want to so much of, go all over the places, but that's where this story gets interesting, because I meet people on the daily basis that say, how was you incarcerated for 8.5 years before your case got heard? The judicial system, I understand it isn't designed to work in the favor of the supposedly criminal, but everybody that's incarcerated is not, guilty. And, we have these cases that get carried out until your case is able to get heard. It could take 6 years, 7 years, 8 years before you actually get in a court and your innocence is proved. So you have to so much of go through that while you're incarcerated, hoping and praying that your case can get heard, as soon as possible. And it could take up to years.
So can you share with us why it takes so long for a case to be heard? Is it because other cases are on front or some shenanigans going on behind the scene? I don't know. What's happening?
And the main thing about that is, because I wanted to speak before and target it, because we have the way the system is built, you can have, let's say, maybe 600 people waiting to go to trial. So, when you contact your attorney and try to find out why my case isn't in trial yet, what's the holdup? It's a delay due to, we're trying to get this together, we're trying to get that together. And, it's always some type of in put off. It's always like a put off for your case. and then you're still sitting. But in the process, this is where it get tricky. You have actually people, lawyers sometimes, that will tell you it's in your best interest to take a plea. So you start juggling back and forth. Should I take a plea for something I didn't do just to hurry up and get out of this stressful situation and get it over with? Or should I hold on to my faith and pray and wait? And, that's when things get tricky, because even in my situation, it took me so long to go to trial because, like the DA holds so much power over your case being heard. And that's the problem, because the DA is not with you. He's against you. Even if, you have an understanding, okay, I have to fight this case, he's still not your friend. So he would drag this case out, as long as they can, and make you get to the point where you say, I'm tired of sitting. I want to take a plea.
So did you ever get to that point?
Yes. And that's where faith, God, belief, and constant prayer had to kick in, because I know I'm innocent and I know I didn't do it, but I'm sitting here like, I'm in a jail cell all day, 24 hours a day. I can't go nowhere. And, the way they design prison and jail is different. Prison, you're still incarcerated, but they give you a little bit more freedom. The way you can move around, do your time different. So people in the county jail get so stressed out, they say, I want to just take this plea. And, I had got to the point, and it was so awkward because my mom had said, son, I don't want you to go to trial and get life. I don't want you to go to trial and lose. Maybe can you consider taking a plea? I said, no, Mom. And then automatically when I said no, her faith went all the way through the roof, which has already been there. But she said, whatever you with, son, I'm going with you, and we're going to get through this together.
And yes, your mama is a praying somebody.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Jay, I don't want to monopolize it because, I can talk. You got any questions for King Shilec? Because I'm about to sit over here and cry.
So what was the plea that was offered to you?
The first plea was life, a plea, life without parole, because I was actually facing the death penalty. I started off with the death penalty. I was facing that. And, once I had said, I'm not taking that, definitely, because I'm not going to sign my life over for something I didn't do to give you permission to kill me. And after that, they said the next plea was life. And I had one more plea after that, which was the third plea. And that was 33 years. And, when I had heard that, I said, I got to go to trial. I got to go to trial.
Now, was this after the 8 years, or was this before the 8 years when you got these pleas, or during the course of the 8 years, rather?
In the course of the 8 years, like I had a whole mix up with my attorney situation. I had to switch attorneys in the middle of trial. Like, actually, when trial was at the end, I had to, like, before trial had actually started, I had to make a choice. I was trying to decide whether did I want to keep this attorney or, change attorney. So in the course of the time, they had came with a plea, because the original attorney I had, he did not come see me until it was time for trial.
Wow.
And that I had to be the bigger person once I won my trial and still shake his hand and forgive him, because we all children of God. Because, like, when I was sitting in there, he never came to see me nothing but maybe like 2-3 times. So he popped up with a plea right here close to trial. And this was the last one, because I had already had the 2. He said, this last one is 33 years. And, when he said that, I was under frustration, because I said, you did not come and see me during my incarceration. And now you pop up and tell me it's time to go to trial. Like, I had to so much of bottle this all up and decide whether, I was going to keep him or not. And I said, I don't want you, on my case. I don't want to continue with you, because he said, well, you can't change lawyers now. We're going to trial, and this is what it is. And I said, I need to speak to the judge. So, when I got down, if you want me to wait to get to a little bit of that, I will. But if you need me now, I, continue. because I don't want to take up with each question. The
Well,
time.
listen, go ahead.
Okay,
Go with
but
the flow.
sorry.
Just go with the
Okay.
flow.
So after once I spoke to him and said I want to get in front of the judge to get me a new attorney, they called me down. And nobody knew what I was doing, because even at one point in time, I was, sometimes it still seemed to amaze me how this panned out. And I know that God is real and he covered this situation. He covered it, because when I came down and I stood in front of the judge, me and my attorney that I had at the time was going back and forth, in front of the judge. I said he did not come see me, until it was close to trial. And I don't feel comfortable with him going to trial. And I want a new attorney. My mom's sitting in the courtroom. She's lost, not completely understanding what's going on. But, and like I said, one point in time, I have to follow through with God and put it together with what's going on. So as I said, I didn't want him on my case. The judge denied my motion. He said, you have to keep him. So now, now it's already in the air. It's tension between me and this attorney that I'm about to go to trial with now, because I stand in front of the judge and say that I don't want him on my case, and the judge denied my motion. So now I come back to the cell. I'm completely stressed. I'm completely stressed to the point to where I feel like I'm getting railroaded. And, when I came back to the cell and I sighed, I said, God, I need you right now. I need you to hear my prayer, because God listens, even when we feel like he's not. He's just on his time, and our time and his time may not always match, but his time is always the best time, regardless. So I said, God, I need you to hear me and walk me through with what I need to do, because I can't go to trial with this lawyer. It's my gut, it's my conscience, it's my spirit, and I'm here now, and this is what I'm following through with. So when in North Carolina, when you are charged with murder, you have two attorneys. Okay, my second attorney, who I hadn't seen either, came up. I get the officer comes to the window and he say, do you want to come out of your cell? You have an attorney meeting. I said, man, I don't want to talk to the attorney if it's the same one, because, we just had a bad hearing in court and my motion got denied. So he said, no, this is another attorney. So when I get in there, it's Carton Mansfield, great attorney, fair attorney. And we'll get into that a little bit later, because I was all over the place. I was back to the wall. I didn't know if I was getting railroaded by him, because when I come in there, he say, look, since the judge is not listening to you, I'm here to listen to you. And I said, what is it that we can do? He said, listen, I take the case. I am willing to take this case right now, because you have no other choice. It's me or the other attorney, and I know you don't want him, because I seen the way that the motion went in court, because he was present. I said, I don't really know. He said, we got 2 weeks. He said, I could stretch this case out for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, we're going to trial. I said, let's do it. I said, let's get me in front of the judge tomorrow, and get my other attorney off the case, and you take the case. And, here I am. And we'll dig into that, because that got layers. Like, me and him had bonded closely, because my life was in his hands. Ultimately, it was in God's hands. Yeah. Let's say that. Yes. But the physical look, you're like, okay, he has this case. I got to make sure he do what he put. I got to make sure that he really has my best interest.
So during this whole time, you never knew about the other attorney?
No, I knew I had two, and I knew his name. But once again, the judicial system, lawyers have so many different clients that they're not even able to see all of them, sometime up to 6 months to a year.
Wow.
Not all of them, some of them try and make effort, and some of them do, but most of the time, you don't see them.
Yeah, I found it a lesson that attorney actually showed up during the time that you had no clue who he was, and didn't even know that he was sitting in listening to what was going on with you motioned and asked the judge to get rid of this particular lawyer that you had at the time.
Right.
So that sounded like that was definitely ordained by God, and for him to just to show up during your motion, and then to show up a couple of weeks later and to let you know that he was present during that time, and now you're here. So
God, that's where that's where it goes over the head of all of us and in the hand of God, because he was there.
Mm. And I just think about, so the entire time, 8 years, you're in prison. I just can't imagine. I mean, the emotions, you're innocent, like to the heart of hearts, you're innocent. Like during this course of 8 years, like 1 year go by too. Like, was there some point where you just like, you know what? I don't know if God is even there. I don't know.
Right. Yes. Like,
So talk about that. Talk about that, please.
And like this process, I try not to use the word mistakes much in this life, because these are lessons. As long as you learn from these lessons, then that's when the whole ball game change. It's not mistakes, it's a lesson. Life is a big old lesson. Everything you go through, you have to snatch the lesson out of it. And if you make go a different route and don't do the same thing, that's when, because life don't come with a blueprint. It's just no layout with go this way, go that way, because we all be where we want to be. You have to take these, what they call mistakes, because all of these are man-made words. You have to take this and shift it into lessons. So, it was times to where I said, it's God, listen. You question because as you sit still, it's so much moving around you, and you talk, and you say, God, it questions your faith in what you believe, but never ever again will I question if he's listening, because this right here has showed me, even when you think he's not listening and he don't talk back, he's listening. He's pulling the strings and setting the stage the way he wanted to happen. And you may want it to happen this way, but the way you may want it to happen may not be the best way. And when he got your best interest, it's going to happen on his time and in the way he wanted to happen.
Amen.
So during that 8 years, at what point did you say, you know what, this is not getting ready to go down this way? And you just held on until now you're in front of us today. Like, what was that eye-opening moment for you?
I think okay, when I first got incarcerated, being young, I was 19. I was going on turning 20. I'm sitting in there, I'm full of emotions, I'm stressed. I'm happy to see, the mother of my children there in tears, they're crying, so I'm lashing out. This is when I'm going through the pain. I'm lashing out. And then as the years change, I started, exercising more. I started saying, it was never too much of a time to where I laid in the bed and I was down. I just always kept the spirit of, I'm going to be okay. Even when my faith wavered, I've always kept up. It was people that had lesser time than me that wasn't even locked up for, like they might have been locked up for 3 days and they would come to me, a man facing murder, facing all of these years, and still say I made them feel good in the midst of what I was going through. Mm-hmm. So it came as the years developed. I started reading revolutionary books. I would tell my mom, order this, mama, order that. And, she was always there. Even when she did not know what I was completely doing, she had faith and she was behind 100%. So as I started reading about, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Stokely Carmichael, Marcus Garvey, I started going back, digging up everything about our people just to get me some knowledge, because what I was seeing in the jail was what I already knew. Mm-hmm. I was trying to, when I would say it came somewhere through like my 7-year mark. And I just was developing. And when I got strong, I said that I'm okay. And my mom stayed with me all the time. She stayed talking to me. Her faith never wavered, even when mine did a little bit. And then when I got to 7.5 years, I was just strong. I was strong. Not stronger than I am today, but I was strong. And I knew that, I'm going to prepare myself for whatever they toss at me. And mama just kept coming, hitting hard. Oh, you coming home. You coming home. She's seen people out that she talked to. And people tell me today that my mom manifested me coming home and continuously saying it. He will not get life. He will not. He will not. He will not. And we just became strong together. And that was it. Mm.
We're just
right here too. Mama's standing behind. Mama's right here. She's she's sitting right here like a proud mother,
Yeah.
Wow, this is, oh my gosh, this is so amazing, because when I hear your story and I think about, we all have our struggles, and
yes,
not to minimize our struggle or compare our struggles to others,
right.
but I can't imagine. I just cannot imagine,
And
because
that's
I'll go through something for 2 days and be about passed out and be like, you know what, I can't do this. We're talking to someone that innocent now, 8.5 years, and still today you're strong as ever. And I know a lot, because I had a praying mama.
Yeah.
When you have a praying mama, and dads are good, we love them.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's something about that mother, that strength, that prayer, that just, listen, when I'm trying to be professional here, but when Niecy,
Yeah,
because that's what we grew up calling her, Niecy, when she would post on Facebook prayers, and she would tell the world, not just people in your hometown, she would on Facebook and be like, he coming home, he coming home.
right, yeah.
I mean, she had all of us, all your aunties and uncles and internet cousins.
Yeah, internet. Yeah, let's put that out here, because I have a lot of internet family.
Even though I'm your cousin in real life,
Yeah, real life. Yeah,
praying on your behalf, and and now we're gonna get to your career, because the career is hot. It is hot. Listen, when I sent Jay the song "Hey She," that's like my favorite song. I mean, you got some other hits that I love. She was like, "We gotta get Jay-Z on the line."
Yeah, baby. Yeah, Haiti. And Haiti, I will get to that a little bit later too.
So it's just amazing. And one thing before we get to your career, when you and I were talking, and I keep going back to, you were innocent, you actually said, and this is when I like basically slid down the wall, you was like, you thank God for that 8.5 years.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I could be that strong to thank God to go through something that long, knowing I didn't do it, and then say thank you.
Yeah.
That is some faith, some growth in your faith. Now, tell us about that. Why would you say something like that, knowing you went through a whole process that you had no hand in, basically?
Now, I don't want to say this, and people take it the wrong way. At one point in time, I was upset with God. Because
this is what this is about. Let us know.
I didn't know if he heard me. I was upset because I had to watch people walk out and leave, being released, and I was still sitting inside that cell. I watched so many people leave and come back, and I said, God, when is my time? When is my turn? And even in the midst of that, he taught me something. That when your time do come, you're not going to be coming in and back and forth. I'm molding you, I'm shaping you and building you. So when you get out, you don't look back. Because I seen so many people come back, come in, come back, come in and come back. And that's just, as time went on, I said, God, I'm going to chalk this down as a blessing. Especially when I came home, because you bottle up and you try to say, what is this completely? Because you say, if I do get life, how can I come home physically? My life is gone. Like, I have to spend the rest of my life incarcerated. And I said, God, if you bring me home, I know what you did this for. I know what you did this. You did this to save my life, my physical life. And that's when I started saying that it's no more being mad with God. It's no more. And that's why I thank him, because it's either two things. At the rate that I was going, hanging around the wrong people, just, being a daredevil, being negative, even to this day with our youth, it's only two things can happen: jail or death. And if I've already been to jail, in prison, what could the next thing been? He saved my life. So that's how I took it all. I lost some, because life is a series of trades. You give and you gain. You have to sacrifice something in order to get something. You have to sacrifice time for work. You have to sacrifice, staying away from that crowd to focus on your career. You have to sacrifice. So I had to realize, God, I sacrificed losing a lot of time out here that I can't get back in order to be here today. And, you know, in the long run, you know, God won't let me suffer a premature death because he saved my life. And now I look at everything different, everything. So that's how I was able to say, God, I thank you. It hurt. Yeah, it hurt. It hurt. But God, I'm way better. I'm way better. Way stronger, way wiser. And I know that trip and that journey, yeah, it hurt, but that trip and that journey helped change my life.
And I believe what you're giving us today, giving the audience today, matter of fact, giving the world today, because you international, we claiming it.
Yes.
It was already in you from birth.
Yes. Yeah.
It was already in you, but God just put these processes in our midst, whether we understand it or not, to bring it out. And when I tell you, he bought you out. He bought you out.
Yes.
You are major.
Yes.
And you sing that song Haitian that I love so much. Don't only sing the hook for us.
I'm riding around with my Haitian. He's smoking on Jamaica.
Ooh.
As soon as I wake up, I gotta stay prayed up.
Yes.
My city, baby, crazy. She been tripping lately, stubborn, disappearing. Never mind me, I'm calling my spirit. Hey. Yeah, that song.
Did you write that?
Did you wrote it
while you were locked up?
Yeah, I had it, and when I came home, I was like, yo, you know, I want to make a song, you know, saying, because I studied Haitian. And the reason I did, because like I studied a lot of as I started reading about the Harriet Tubman, the revolutionaries and stuff, I started learning about where our people that actually come from, because I was more of a spiritual person than a religious person incarcerated. So I started studying about Haiti. And I have some friends that's Haitian. You know, they love me. You know, I have little kids, Shali, like, like the spirit I possess. I have friends that was Haitian. And, I said, it was just like, I started saying it, walking around and said, wrong with my Haitian, they smoking on Jamaica. Pray soon as I wake up, gotta stay prayed up. So they like, yo, you need to do that. You need to do that. That's one of the first songs. So I had these songs written before I knew I was coming home. But it's just that I still had the faith. But, before I physically was free, I had these songs inside my notepad. And, I'm like, yo, this just, when it worked out for me, and, they said not guilty, and I was on the way back, and my mom was falling behind the van. Yo, my son coming home, she falling behind the bus. Like, let him out now, let him. My mom, my dad, I'm like, so much going through my head. Like, like I got this song, and I'm ready, and that was one of the first songs I said I wanted to do.
Wow.
They love it, though. Like, yeah, I gotta, I'm gonna definitely do a lot more with that song. Yes, definitely.
Listen, I know you already put a little video out for it, but
yeah,
if you do another one,
I
wouldn't mind doing a little cameo.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
A little appearance.
Yeah, that was a snippet. It's not complete, so yeah, the door is still open to that. Yeah.
So, question: what was the date that you went in and the date that you came home?
I went in, Mama. I went in the 17th of March, 2013.
Okay.
And I came out July the 26th, 2021.
My goodness,
my God.
And I had 2 trials now. 2 trials.
2 trials.
That's where this whole thing just get, bothering. Because the first trial, I had what you call a mistrial, which is a hung jury. It was a split decision. And, mostly everywhere that a case is heard like that and you have a mistrial, you are supposed to get a bond reduction, or you're supposed to get an ankle monitor on your leg until your next trial. I was denied and did not get neither one. The bond was nowhere near reasonable. They knew I could not make the bond. They did not allow me house arrest until my next trial, to where I'm not going nowhere. They held me after the first trial.
Wow.
So how long was the process once you met the second lawyer and he came to you? How long did it take from the time that you met him until July the 26th, 2021?
I want to say it was a little bit after I met him. Shortly after, I met him, trial started.
Mm-hmm.
So we had built the bond because I didn't get to see him, because of like the pandemic and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, I didn't get to see him as much at all that year. So after that, once the trial, probably like 2 weeks after, he came, we had to go to trial and get things started. And, I built the bond with him then.
Mm-hmm.
I built the bond with him then.
Wow. So listen, as this international recording artist, how has that been for you? I mean,
it's been like,
I love it.
like the music, that's a gift from God that he gave me. But like, I'm not gonna lie, like when I came home, I had so many different things coming at me, relationships. I got caught up in a relationship. Like I started, spending time. I didn't lose my touch for music, but like it's just like, when you have so much at you coming at you, it's sort of like, took my focus a little bit off of music. And, I just recently been able to, because it's just like I started fasting more recently. I started, doing a lot of, closed off things. I started staying away from the crowd. And, I just started so much of, staying close to my foundation, going back to my roots of how I was when I came home. Because, if you're not careful, the evils of this world will attack you and it will have you thinking this, thinking that. So, it was a lot of different times where things have sort of changed. But, my career, I'm able to do more focusing now and pick it back up. And now I'm ready.
And we ready.
Yeah.
We all the way ready.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
I got outfits in my closet.
Yeah.
I'm ready to wear to the listening parties.
Yes.
Listen, and don't you start them too late, because I got to be in the bed by 9:30.
Thank you.
The party don't get started till 9:30.
Mama laughed at you, yeah.
Well, listen, we go, almost kind of bring it in, wrap it up here. So King Shilec, the GOAT. And by the way, I love those little goats that you had in that picture.
Yeah, I want to tell you about this. I met a nice lady in Portland, great friend, and this is going to open up something else I want to talk about. Like when I was incarcerated, I seen a lot of stuff on TV about anti-police, anti-white. Like this lady that I met that actually bought me those goats, she was white. But we are all children of God. Mm-hmm. So in my eyes, she's family. She allowed me to come. She has a nice house in Park. So like, she bought the goats for me and I was able to, to come out, mingle with the goats. And she's a sweet person. Her name is Heather. And, like, I just feel like our leaders need to step up and not just, it don't matter if they say you're not cool. Be real. Mm-hmm. So let them know that just because a person is a police or just because a person is white, they don't have to be against you. What about the biracial children? What about the people that just took to become an officer because, that's what they just wanted to be? I actually got stopped by the police. I was on the way to work and I was looking down on my phone at the GPS and I was going a little bit too slow. So the officer stopped me and said, "Hey, are you okay? Why are you going so slow?" I said, for one, I just got my car back and, I want to make sure that don't nobody bump into it. And I'm looking down at my phone. And, I was trying to follow the GPS because I went a different way this morning. And he was nice as can be. He said, "Okay, man, you need me to help you." Then I had one time a police helped me change my tire. It's like, so you got to understand, man, like, but those are the people that think on lower levels sometimes, but it's on our leaders and us to enlighten them. Once they see me doing stuff, because they may say, well, I know, it's a difference from knowing somebody that was, actually went through this. Like, you can't talk to nobody that, a person that actually did time can tell you more about a person that haven't done it. So, I just, as me being like a leader or whatnot, I let them know it's okay sometimes, to mingle with different, people. you know, as long as their energy's good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it don't matter whether you black, blue, green, or brown. If the energy is off and it's dulling your spirit, stay away from it.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what I was going to say, because it
My
is
mom
all
wanna
about
say-
your attitude.
Yeah.
So listen, as we wrap this up, let us know how, or us, the audience, everybody know how we can keep in touch with you, how we can follow you. We definitely have to do a part 2 of this
Yes,
interview,
yes.
because we're not gonna be able to get it all in today.
Gotcha.
But let us know, gosh, my words are twisted up. How we can stay in touch with you, your social media and all of that.
Okay, I got some cards on the way coming out pretty soon. I have my QR code on the back, but you know, my Instagram is at King Shilec, King and SHILEC at King Shilec.
Okay.
And my Facebook is Shilec Rothwell. Before I go, I have one major special guest. She want to step in and say, hey, she's standing right here. You know, my mother, Eleanor Denise Walters, the one and only, the infamous.
You
Without
didn't
her,
say the whole government name.
I know.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. How you?
Hey.
Hello.
Nice to meet
Hey,
you.
family.
Hey, fam.
All right, y'all.
All right.
All right.
So listen, guys, thank you for joining us. We are definitely excited about this interview and more that's going to come with King Shilec, the GOAT. So y'all stay tuned to what he's going to be doing. And y'all also stay tuned with us. And so we love y'all.
And I love you all.
Bye.